So here you are. It's the middle of the United Nations and you're trying to get an interview with one of the biggest stars in the world. He just won an Academy Award and you want to interview him for your TV show. Who is he? This guy. How do you get him? He's swarmed. There's 200 people surrounding him. He just finished an interview and everybody wants to get his autograph. Everybody wants to give their business card. How can you reach him? You stop. You look at him and you see through the crowd that he's tired. He wants to go home. So what do? You run through the crowd. You run up to him. You grab his arm and you say, "Forrest, I'm gonna get you out of here." And he looks at you like, who's this? Why is this kid touching me? And right in the middle of the United Nations, in a crowd of 300 people, you grab his arm, you look and you say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Whitaker has to leave the building. No more pictures, no more autographs." And what happens? It's like the parting of the Red Sea. Everyone moves and they listen and they think that you're his bodyguard. You proceed to walk him down the street, talk to him about your project, reach his hotel, get his information, and you're gonna interview him this year for your television show. So how can you interview Forrest Whitaker? How can you speak with the Secretary General of the United Nations in the General Assembly Hall? How can you have a TV show on PBS? How can you do whatever you want to do in this world that's going to have a social impact? 3 letters, NMW. NMW. I know what you're thinking. You're looking at me, you're thinking, "Oh God, I probably have kids older than this guy, and he's coming up here with the text messaging LOL, NMW, LMAOQ, QRST. Look, I'm not a member of Generation Y. I might be 25 years old, but my mom went to Woodstock, okay? I got hippie genes in me. I don't want to pretend that I know any of your life experiences. I don't want to pretend like I have any advice. All I want to do is share with you some universal truths that I've seen on my travels. I grew up in this little place, maybe you heard of it, home to 2.5 million people, 150 nationalities, Brooklyn. And in Brooklyn, everyone lives on a street, which we call the block. And on our block, there's a place where we sit that's called the stoop. Now this stoop, it's a very special place. You see, my friends growing up were Russian, Irish, Italian, Puerto Rican, Korean, Jewish, Muslim, Palestinian, Lebanese, Greek, Puerto Rican, American. And we all grew up on the same block. And we all hung out on the same stoop. And this stoop, it was our meeting ground, it was our connection point. It was a place where we could come together, have an open dialogue, say what we wanted, and we knew there wouldn't be any consequences down the line from our teachers, or our parents, or our girlfriends, because we never had any. But still, the stoop was a place where I first learned about valuing difference, about equality. And the reason I bring up the stoop is because I think each of us has a stoop in our lives. In everyone's neighborhood, there's a place, there's a gathering place where you can go and have an open conversation and not be judged, be equals with the people next to you. In some places, maybe it's a laundromat. In some communities, maybe it's a bar. For my 10-year-old nephew in upstate New York, it's a tree. But I bring up the stoop because I think it's crucial for us to develop relationships with people in our lives. Friends, family, clients. Let's say you got an idea for a new sports program that you want to implement in inner city Chicago. Well, what are you going to do? Are you just going to build a basketball court? Are you just going to invest in a football field? No. Go hang out with kids, find out what their stoop is, interact with them, and find out what they want. And we don't come from a place of, "Hey, I'm going to help you, I'm going to fix you, I know what's good for you." No, we come from a place of, "I want to understand what your life is like. I want to understand what your hopes, your wants, your desires are." So the first lesson I learned is that we got to find the stoop. Now I want you to imagine that you're growing up and your whole life, everybody's told you what you're supposed to be. Well, maybe you don't have to imagine, maybe that is your life. But I want you to imagine that your whole life, people told you you were supposed to be an actor. You like being in front of people, right? You like attention. I mean, you're kind of funny. I mean, you should be an actor. And you start to think, all right, I can try that. So you start acting. You get the high school plays, you get a scholarship to college, and before long you book a role on one of the largest television shows on the planet.